I would love to greet everyone here. This is a great event, I think, that we've all been anticipating. To look back at what we've done, to reflect on what the schools have been doing, because the focus is on the KIC schools this morning. So we are excited to see what has been happening in different schools.
Amongst the attendees here, we have teachers, principals and learners from the 20 KIC schools in Vhembe West that we've been working with over the past 16 months, and they're here to showcase the climate change education work that they've been doing for over the last 16 months.
Climate change. I am a pandemia of my nature, my very precious nature, climate change. My friends in crime, littering, cutting trees, burning, car exhaust and deforestation.
Today we are celebrating your accomplishments that you have achieved over the last 2 years. What you are doing in Vhembe West is linked to a momentum that is gathering across the country. There is huge excitement around climate change, climate education, and protecting the environment. Nothing happens in education if it's not because of teachers. And in this project, teachers mattered. And we would like to acknowledge and thank and welcome as well the teachers, the HODs, the deputy school principals, the principals of the schools that have made this program a reality and for buying into a very important and critical program.
Presentations from schools, from teachers and learners have been totally outstanding, from just thinking back from when we started last year from nothing to where we ended. The climate action that is on the ground at schools is absolutely amazing.
We hope that spirit of collaboration that has been fostered through the Keep It Cool Climate Change Education Project is something that will continue and gain momentum and be sustained. Because if we would really want to make an impact, then it's going to be about a sustained intervention. It will call on all of us to roll up our sleeves and to be serious about what we are intending to do.
So today we are coming together with the schools from the Amathole West district that have been participating in the Keep It Cool program, which we affectionately call KIC. It's really, I want to say, a culmination of all the learning and the teaching and the change processes that they've been involved in as a part of the KIC project.
This is a project that is based on coming up with interventions to reduce or eliminate global warming and climate change. As the project was progressing, learners were beginning to be aware of the impact of climate change in our daily lives. Because before the project started, learners were not fully aware of the impact of global warming.
So the teachers were involved in a training course that helped them to contextualize climate change education within the CAPS curriculum of the natural sciences and the geography curriculum. And the reason that we wanted it to be a curriculum activated focused project is because we understand that schools can be agencies of change, and the most direct way to do that is through the education system and to strengthen our communities as a result of that.
My idea is, since we are using grade 9, 10, 11s for this project, how about taking it as a competition amongst them so that so that each and every learner own each and every sibling, make each and every sibling their baby.
And for me as an educator, I feel very privileged to be part of this because it's giving me new ideas of how I can teach at school and how to conduct myself in my life.
But it's also the hope that the story that gets shared here is then going to inspire other schools, other teachers, other learners, other school leadership to focus on climate change education and how critical it is. What we know about the nature of change and the nature of action is that the smallest action makes a difference.
We are here today because schools are coming to share with us their experiences in terms of the climate change education project. They are going to show us what they have produced in their change projects, and they will be able to share with one another how they have been using some of the knowledge that they have gained during the training. Their change projects were about gardening, waste management, etc. So we hope to see the fruits of their crop.
So our school created a garden. This helps us decrease global warming and climate change. In our school, a garden was created. It helps us in many ways. It provides us with fresh veggies from the school, for the school to cook for us during lunchtime, for the children from the school to take home as food parcels, as some of the learners come from child-needed households.
The curriculum such in South Africa is already addressing environmental issues through their learning outcomes. So for these high schools that are here, continue, make sure that you sustain your project. You have started with your recycling project. How can you sustain it? You have started with your gardening project. The sustainability is very important. But how do you sustain it and becoming a community that is responsible for environmental conservation and environmental management? So it starts with you in schools and it goes out to communities.
So it's very, very important that what they have gained from this project, the learners as well as teachers, they are also extending it to their immediate families and their communities at large.
Good morning, everyone, and what a great privilege and it is to be here. And I'd like to welcome the schools, in particular, that have been part of KIC CCE. So we have our schools from the Pinetown district, learners, teachers, also the leadership of the schools is represented.
We worked as UKZN together with CASME, and we developed some materials in conjunction with Fundisa for Change. And the materials were about climate change education for natural sciences in the senior phase, as well as for geography. In doing this, what we did was, at the heart of the materials development were the Sustainable Development Goals, where what we sought to do was to deepen content knowledge, to improve teacher practice, and to improve assessment practice. Teachers were encouraged to assist learners to develop a personal connection to this whole climate change phenomenon.
I also took my learners outside into the garden, which was an innovative change for me. It was an outdoor classroom activity, and the enthusiasm shown by learners was incredible.
So the training created an awareness and increased our concern about climate change.
I really never paid attention to the whole climate change. The need for having plants, trees, and plants to take care of, until the day I saw the garden in our school and inspired me to want to help out in growing the vegetables and other plants in our school.
Also, the training unleashed the creativity of teachers so that learners can participate in the development of climate change projects at school and at home, and eventually in their communities.
This specific project focused on 40 teachers per district and looking at giving them the tools, the skills and the capabilities and the competencies to bring climate change education into their classrooms. Today we're here to celebrate their journey and their learnings in terms of climate change education at their schools and in their communities. And these teachers have basically gone through the training, gone back to their schools and implemented a mitigation or adaptation project to basically help them survive against climate change.
For me, This KIC has been a wonderful project. It has completely changed my way of thinking, teaching, involving my learners. I think that my learners also find it, because it doesn't matter what topic I am busy teaching, I bring the environment into that lesson, whether I'm teaching about the kidneys, whether I'm teaching evolution, whether I'm teaching you about electricity, you will find the environment somewhere in that lesson.
That project was initially started as part of their training at Rhodes University, a project that will change the way they think, a project that will change the way they do things, and a project that will inspire the upcoming generation to care about their natural environment as well as the environment that they grow up in at school and at home. And particularly in this area, Nelson Mandela Bay, water came up as a big issue. Food insecurity came up as a big issue. And both of those are highly, highly, highly impacted by the changes of the climate. So it was all very interlinked to bring it back home to Gqeberha, and to work with the teachers here to look at what are the kind of ways that we as everyday citizens can take action and work to fight climate change in our everyday lives. You know, personally for me, the most gratifying thing of being within the environmental education, climate change education space is when teachers, learners, principals, people that we work with, when the penny drops for them, that climate change is a very, very interlinked thing in everything that we do. So when they make that connection, that the environment is actually part of a bigger dimension that impacts our social lives, that impacts our economic lives, that is really the kind of true stamp of greatness when it comes to these kinds of projects. We're placing a lot of responsibility on their shoulders, but it's big enough. They can handle the transition of thinking about climate and this massive concept of climate change and bringing it home and zoning into our everyday lives at school, at home.